Caroline from CarolineVencil.com here. I am here today with Willow. She will not leave my side, and so you might see her inside of the videos. But there's a lot of amazing things that I want to talk to you guys about. So before we get started, make sure that you like this video, comment if you liked it, let me know if you have any questions, and don't forget to check out a bunch of the freebies inside of the description below. There's a bunch of links for you to learn more and get more help that you need. So let's get on into it. I feel like there is something wrong with the opt-in on my site. It gets less than 1% conversion rate of people signing up for my email list. How can I fix that? Okay, so a lot of times when people are talking about like your opt-in on your blog post, when we talk about like having a really low conversion rate, a lot of times that could be something like it's getting missed and overlooked by people who are trying to find an opt-in. It's not standing out to them. They're not noticing it as an opt-in. It's not feeling like it's something that they need. But a lot of times also, more so than just that, it's put somewhere on a blog post where the metrics are reading that a lot of people are seeing this opt-in and not a lot of people are signing up for it. You know how technology goes. So what I mean by that is, like, let's just say that you have a blog post that gets 10,000 page views a month. Okay. Just gonna nice round numbers because it is early and Caroline cannot do math. Let's just say you have a blog post that gets 10,000 page views over the course of a month. And you have a 1% conversion rate. So that means 100. No. Yes. No. 100 people have signed up. Math is hard. 1,000? No. 100. 100 people have signed up. And I even said, like, I'll do a nice easy number, and I still can't do numbers. Okay. 1% conversion rate. You have a lot of people who are seeing this blog post according to your analytics, but not a lot of people are actually seeing the opt-in itself. I noticed this with ConvertKit, and I don't know if it's really changed a whole lot since I first noticed this, but like, it'll say, 100,000 people have seen this and it's got a 0.1% opt-in rate. What that tells me is that instead of actually calculating the analytics based off of how many people are actually seeing it, it's how many page views that post where the code has been embedded on has actually seen it, and it's actually not being seen itself by a lot of people. It's just that page may have been. Why is this relevant? Because a lot of times when we talk about, like, where are you putting your opt-in box? Where are you putting the place where people can opt into your email list? Unless you're being really intentional with it, a lot of times the answer is it's in the sidebar or it's at the very bottom of the post. Now, something to remember about placement of your opt-in box inside of a blog post is that if it's in the sidebar, 80% of your traffic is going to come from mobile. 80%. It could be more, it could be a little bit less, but it's right around 80%, and it has been for a while now. If you're looking at your website from your phone, your sidebar isn't until the very bottom of your scroll. So if the only place that you have an opt-in for people to sign up for your email list is in the sidebar, it might look great on desktop, but it does not kind of translate into mobile. Another thing that a lot of people struggle with is when we're talking about like placement of opt-in boxes. If it's not in the sidebar, it's at the very bottom of the blog post. And again, think about like when you go to a blog post that you are reading. 9 times out of 10 for myself, I'm looking at a blog post for like a recipe. I do not make it to the bottom of that post. Ever. And even for like when I was before blogging, so BB, before blogging, I would go onto Pinterest and I would find these, articles that you would find on Pinterest. I don't think I ever made it to the bottom of any of them. Or like the second that I saw that the post was wrapping up, I would leave. And there's nothing wrong with that, except for the fact that if that's the only place that you have your opt-in box is at the very bottom of a blog post, people aren't going to be seeing it. So if you're looking and saying like a lot of people are coming to this post, but not a lot of people are signing up, the number one thing that you need to take into consideration is the positioning of the box itself. So sidebars, you can have something in your sidebar, but don't let that be the only thing. Same thing for at the very bottom of your blog post. You still want people who do read the entire thing, who aren't dyslexic and ADHD like me, who will read the entire thing and then go, oh my gosh, I need more from you. And that's where they'll sign up, is at the bottom of that blog post. But that can't be the only place that you put an opt-in box. It is recommended that it goes in the top 25% of a blog post. You've seen, the ones that are in the header, the hello bar. Those typically, not like annoy people. Like pop-ups can annoy people, like anything can annoy people, but let's not focus on that. The goal here is to get people to sign up for our lists. If you're worried about annoying people, you're going to be like, I'm just going to put it in the sidebar. I'm going to put it at the bottom, because that's what I did forever, because I didn't want to annoy people. I didn't want to break up their focus on the blog post. And so I just never focused on growing my list. And obviously that was a problem because it never grew. And we don't want that to happen. We want people to sign up for our list. And the way that we're going to do that is by moving our opt-in box to the top 25%. So basically, like, if we're talking, the intro and then like the meat of the blog post itself and then the conclusion, your opt-in box should be before the meat of the post. It should be, you can sprinkle a few throughout the post even if you want to. There's nothing wrong with that at all. But you have to remember that the more people that you can get to see your content, to see your freebies, the higher the chances that people are going to be willing to sign up for them. Because ultimately, that your freebies are for your people. You know that they're going to help them. A lot of times, it's just the fact they didn't see it. It's not that your freebie sucked. It's not that your free thing that you're offering isn't good. It's that they're not seeing it. More times than not, that's the problem. So change your position before you change anything else. Now, step 2 is, if you've changed the position of your opt-in box and you're still not getting people who are signing up, then it's time to actually work on the box itself. What do I mean by that is, like, a lot of times when you first are building an opt-in box, and we're not even going to go necessarily into Canva, but I do have one pulled up in Canva, so we can use this kind of like an example. But wait, I had a train of thought. But when we're building our things inside of our email service providers, a lot of times the backgrounds on the boxes that they give us are blank, or are, you can give it a color, but a lot of times it just looks better with a black or a white background, and you want the text to pop. And so you don't really do anything other than a white background. You change the color of the button itself and have, if you want to X, Y, and Z, then you can grab my free blankety blank. Here you go. And that's in plain black text. Now, the problem is, does it look very sharp and sleek and everything inside of your email service provider when you're building it? Absolutely, it does. It's beautiful. It's magnificent. It's clean. It's crisp. However, the problem is that once you actually put that into your blog post, it gets lost. It gets lost inside of the blog post. It just kind of reads as more text, more places for people to skim through, or it just kind of gets lost, is really the only way to put it. Is if you have something that doesn't catch people's attention, that is the same kind of colors as your branding, that doesn't have a lot of graphics or even promises of like what they're going to get if they can read it. We're not even talking about like the copy on this opt-in box. We're still just talking about catching people's attention. And so the problem was, or is, if you have a white background on your opt-in box, it can get lost. And we don't want that. So after you've changed the position of your opt-in box, next change the box itself. Change it to a color that stands out. Change it. If your branding colors, I'm just going to use my branding colors because my brain is dead right now. If your branding colors are pink and your peach and navy blue, then do not use peach and navy blue for your opt-in box. Use something that is going to catch their attention and stop the scroll. I think it was Russell Brunson who I heard say this. He called it a pattern interrupt. And it's just my favorite way to put it, is literally that's exactly what you're going to do. When you want people to stop their scroll and pay attention to your opt-in box and not overlook it. Because a lot of times opt-in boxes kind of read like ads. And as people in the year of our Lord 2022, we're so used to seeing ads all over the place that it just kind of becomes second nature. We're what's called ad blind because of the fact that we just don't see them anymore. Now, obviously, some ads are more difficult to ignore than others, but if it looks like an ad, we just kind of mentally skip it. And so we don't want that to happen with our opt-ins. We don't want it to be so seamlessly integrated with our blog posts and our branding that it gets completely overlooked. But at the same time, we don't want it to be so boring. I say lightly because I've made some really bad opt-in boxes, but we don't want it to be so simple and black and white that it doesn't even read as anything other than part of the post. So next thing that you're going to do would be to work on the colors of your opt-in box, the things that you're showing people to catch their attention. So I'm going to see if this will work for me. Hang on, we're going to try to share a screen. Here we go. Okay, perfect. Yay, it did work. Okay, so these are some of my opt-in boxes, and obviously I'm going to share everything with you guys. These are some of my opt-in boxes. I don't necessarily think that these are the best things that have graced the planet, but I brought these up because the background itself is a different color. The reason that I like the different color background is because if this was white, here, we're just going to duplicate this page really quick. If this page is white, this is what people are going to see on my site. This is what they're going to see when they go to opt in, is just this little cute mock-up and this headline if it can catch their attention. It's not taking up a lot of space. It's not commanding a great deal of attention. Is it cute? Yes. But at the same time, am I going to be paying enough attention to this to realize that you're offering me something for free? Am I going to be paying enough attention to this to realize that it's not just an ad? Am I going to be paying enough attention to this to realize that this is something that I need, that is going to help me with what I'm struggling with from your blog post? Is there enough information here to show me that? And so I do the colored backgrounds. Excuse me. I do the colored backgrounds because of the fact that it does take up more space. And it takes up more space, and the more space that you can take up with your opt-ins, and not like in an obnoxious way, obviously, like you don't want to take up, I don't think, an entire page itself with your opt-in, but just enough space that it's making them stop and pay attention to it. That's kind of what I'm thinking. So with all of these different opt-ins, like I liked this one also because it's a different color at the top and a different at the bottom. And because we read things from top to bottom, it still kind of grabs your attention and forces your eyes across in this manner and down and across, because that's how our eyes travel, is in like a Z form. Yeah, it's a Z formation. Top left, top right, in a diagonal, and then bottom left, bottom right. That's the way that it works. That's how our brains are supposed to work, at least. If you're like me, mine works a little differently, you know. But yes, so the reason that these are in these colors instead of in my, you can see, let's see so you guys can see. These are my brand colors. These are definitely not my brand colors. This will make you stop and pay attention. It's not muted pink. It's not navy blue. It doesn't blend in. It stands out. And another thing that I heard about, here, I'll stop. There we go. Another thing that I had heard about opt-ins is that your freebie, whatever you're offering for free, has to be way better than how annoying an opt-in box is. If that makes sense. I'm butchering the way that was said. Everybody knows that pop-ups are annoying. Everybody knows that the hello bar that pushes down the page can get annoying. However, if your freebie is fantastic and your opt-in is incredible, it will be more beneficial to your people to get it than it is just there to annoy them. You don't want to annoy people. You want to make sure that your freebie is worth it. And I know that your freebies are worth it. So if you've noticed, if you're following along with this process, we've not even talked about your freebie. Because a lot of times when people are saying, like, I have a really bad conversion rate on my freebie, I'm just going to delete it and start over. One of the first things that they say is literally, I'm just going to try a different freebie. This one isn't working. We're not even talking about the freebie just yet. You have to change the position. You have to change the color. You have to make it stand out. And then we can talk about changing the copy on your box, on the opt-in box itself. Maybe your headline and your calls to action and your pain points of your people aren't exactly hitting. Maybe you're just saying, you're talking about the features of a product instead of the benefits. Instead of saying like, it's going to help you organize your house in 10 minutes flat, go from hot mess to having, a mother-in-law surprise visit ready house in 10 minutes, right? Everybody would sign up for that. However, if you say it has 12 pages and can be printed in black and white or color, that's not exactly talking about how it's going to help you, how it's going to help your people, what kind of benefit they stand to get from signing up for this freebie. So that's kind of where are we on step 3? Step 3 of this whole process comes in. If changing the location changing the position of the opt-in box still didn't yield higher conversion rates. If changing the colors and the appearance of the opt-in box still didn't yield higher conversion rates. If changing the copy on the opt-in box still didn't yield higher conversion rates, then we can go into actually talking about the freebie itself. So if we're talking about, a 1% conversion rate and you've changed all of these things, you're like, what is wrong with my freebie? Let's work on the name first. Name first. And something that I had heard was that some people don't want to work. And this sounds like I'm going somewhere, I promise. Some people don't want to work. And so the concept of the word workbook puts people off. Guide sounds easier. Process sounds easier. System sounds easier. Step by step, easier. Tutorial, easier. All of these things are easier than workbook. See, personally, I kind of like workbook because it means action in my head, but some people are really put off by the word workbook. Sometimes, if you're like me, your naming when you're first starting out or when you're coming up with names is very on the nose. So instead of saying, my product is very, very rudimentary and 10 steps to help you get out of debt, because my blog is personal finance. 10 steps to help you get out of debt. Well, that's explaining a lot about what it is, but that's not actually helping me decide if it's something that's going to help me. It's not really it doesn't have spice to it. It doesn't have anything that's really like sexy, that's grabbing my attention and making me really feel like it's something that I need. If we can change it up and change the name from 10 ways to get out of debt to financially free by 40, that's basically the same thing. Like, it's the same general concept. However, it's a much sexier title. It's a much more desirable outcome that people want from the title. Just right there in changing the title. Yeah, I like the term workbook too, but some people are like really put off by it. I don't know why. I wish I had all the answers, but I don't. So, if you are struggling with trying to get people to opt in, look at the name, change your headline, change your call to action. Test all of the things out. This is like the big thing is there's no right or wrong answer necessarily. A lot of it comes back to A/B testing. If your people like the straightforward names and they're no nonsense people and they're not super big on like the future projecting, they're still very much like in this situation, then saying 10 ways to get out of debt would appeal to them. But if your people are the future projecty kind of people, they are the people who are thinking about in 30 years, 40 years, whatever it is. If those are your kinds of people, then changing the name from 10 ways to get out of debt to financially free by 40 sounds much more appealing to them. So that would be kind of step 4 in the process. Change the position of the opt-in box, change the box and the colors and the way it looks itself. Change the copy on the box, and then change the name of the opt-in itself. And then if none of that still works, if none of that is really floating the boat, if none of that is fixing the problem and getting more people to sign up, then, and only then, after you've done all of those things, can you change the opt-in. Then you can say, okay, let's try something else. That would be a go ahead to change that up. So yeah, that's the whole process of like, if you feel like there's something wrong with your opt-in, do not immediately go and scrap the opt-in. Do not throw it out and start over from square one immediately. start with the positioning, then move on to the color of the opt-in box itself, then change what is actually said inside of the opt-in box, hitting on the pain points, your headline, your call to action. Excuse me. Then change the name of the opt-in itself to kind of make sure that it's hitting on the right pain points, it's attractive to your people. And then if none of those things work, then and only then should you change your opt-in itself. So yeah. All right, guys, I hope that helped. Willow and I are signing off for the day. Don't forget to leave a comment if you have any more questions. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.